Hey everyone, it's Julie Traeger, health coach. Welcome back to Small Bites. Today I'm wearing my Be Brave shirt. This is a motto I try to live by every day, so it's one of my favorite shirts. So thought I'd share that with you. So today I really wanted to talk about how I eat and why I eat that way. And it occurred to me a couple of weeks ago that I really hadn't talked much about this with you. And so I thought for those of you who don't know my story, I would share a little bit. So about 4 years ago, I found myself with a newly diagnosed autoimmune disorder, which, as autoimmune disorders go, I have Sjogren's. Not a horrible. I don't have a lot of pain. I don't, there's some fatigue, but otherwise, it's really it just has some symptoms that not weren't horrible, but were really, quite frankly, driving me crazy. And I was premenopausal. I was gaining weight. Couldn't figure out why. I really hadn't changed my diet much at all, but I was still gaining weight. And I was working out 4 and 5 times a week, so I really shouldn't have been gaining weight. And I was having these atypical migraine headaches. I was drinking a lot of coffee to kind of get myself through the day because I just didn't feel all that energetic anymore. And believe me, I at that point was weighed about 155 pounds, and on a 5 foot 1 inch frame, that is not comfortable. So I just didn't feel good, and I just felt sort of bloaty all the time, and I struggled with constipation. So I really, once I got the autoimmune disorder, I really thought, okay, I've got to figure out what is going on with me, and is there a way to reverse this? Is there a way to reduce my symptoms? And if you know anything about autoimmunes, you know that once you get one autoimmune, you're at risk for developing other autoimmunes. And I certainly didn't want to tempt fate and get have my autoimmune disorder go into something like a rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, which has much more serious symptoms than I had. So I started to read. I just started to read about health, and I started to read about autoimmune disorders and what causes them. And it was really quickly that a lot of my reading, and most of this was website research initially, a lot of my reading pointed me in the direction of food. In the case of autoimmune disorders, specifically gluten intolerance and dairy intolerance, but other things as well, soy, corn, and it just really started. All my reading pointed me in the direction of a processed food diet, the standard American diet, and what it is doing to human beings and to our health. Particularly those of us in the United States who really eat probably more processed food than just about anybody in the world. So initially I was reading about a vegetarian diet, and then I read about a raw diet, and I looked at vegan. I went back to Atkins for a while, and I actually tried all of these diets for 30 to 60 days, even the raw food diet, which was really interesting. But I wasn't really getting the results that I wanted, and then I kind of discovered paleo. And I thought, okay, you know, yes, it means giving up dairy and it means giving up gluten, but really, I mean, there are a lot of good things on the paleo way of eating. And I try not to use the word diet because really this is a lifestyle, it's not a diet. But I thought, okay, I think I can actually do this. And I started reading about all the health benefits and all the claims that people who were eating paleo, all the health benefits that they were talking about. No more migraines, which I had. People lost weight fairly effortlessly. People who were pre-diabetic and diabetics got off of their diabetes medication. People who had aches and pains, joint aches and pains, didn't have those anymore. Energy, people had tons of energy and really didn't need coffee to get through their day. And I thought, okay, and there were actually some people who were able to reverse their autoimmune diseases. So I thought this is something I'm going to try. And I really just over the course of a year, honestly, started gradually incorporating the paleo diet. into my lifestyle, the paleo lifestyle into my lifestyle. So really one snack at a time, one meal at a time. I think I started with breakfast first because I figured that was easier than anything else. And so I started eating more of a paleo breakfast, and then I started eating more of a paleo lunch, and then I went into dinner. And then I really concentrated on bringing paleo into my choices when I went out to a restaurant to eat. And I have to tell you, really, by phasing it in that way, yes, there were times when it was hard. Paleo really requires you to cook. And for those of you who don't sort of know much about the paleo lifestyle, it's really looking at what our Paleolithic ancestors or the hunter-gatherer ancestors who lived a long time ago ate, because they actually seem to be extremely healthy and without disease. Now, I know a lot of us learned in school that our Paleolithic ancestors didn't live much past 30, and that's mainly because of animal attacks and things like that. It wasn't because of disease. These people were actually relatively healthy. They didn't even really have dental cavities. So that's really the essence of it, is eating good whole food, eating things that either come from an animal or a plant, and nothing else, and no processed food. And that's really why this eating lifestyle is so effective. Is, number one, you don't eat processed food, and number two, you are eating wholesome, whole food. And it also stops you from from craving the foods that are not good for you, because you are so satisfied and you're full. I mean, I'm never hungry. There's no reason to be hungry. There's tons and tons of food to eat on this diet. You just really have to plan ahead, and you have to cook. You have to cook a lot of your meals. So once I got used to food preparation on the weekends, so that really I could just throw together meals, I honestly, I cook pretty much every dinner. I cook dinner 5 nights a week, probably. And most of my meals take me about 20 minutes to make and about 30 minutes total, unless I throw a roast in the oven, and that takes an hour. But still, it's in the oven and I'm not doing anything. I'm doing other things. So I've really learned, I've become a chop and dump cook, which means you chop it up, you dump it in a bowl, or you throw it in a pan, and you're done. And I've really learned how to create a ton of recipes around this sort of chop and dump mentality. And I don't spend that much time cooking. And really, my health benefits have been fairly dramatic. I lost 10 pounds pretty effortlessly. Now, I did start working out a little bit too, but I had been working out 4 nights a week before. Now I only work out 2 nights a week. And I've really been able to maintain my weight without counting anything. I don't count portions. I don't count calories. I don't count anything. And I can't tell you, as a female who has struggled with my weight since I was in 3rd grade, how absolutely freeing that has been to be the same weight for the last 3 years and not have to count anything. And my autoimmune disorder, my symptoms have abated. I can't tell you that I've reversed it, but my symptoms are definitely better, and my autoimmune disorder is stable and hasn't metamorphosed into another autoimmune disorder. My migraines are gone. I don't drink coffee anymore, hardly ever, and if I do, it's decaf because I don't need the caffeine. I cut out soda, and honestly, you guys, and I was a chocolate hawk. I was an M&M junkie. I will be totally willing to tell you. And honestly, I can walk by a bowl of M&Ms now and not even care. And I can walk by a loaf of bread or have somebody sit bread in front of me at a restaurant, and I don't really care. And that's because, again, my cravings are pretty much gone. And if I do crave something, like my maple bourbon pecan gelato at Sienna Tavern this weekend, for those of you who were on Facebook with me, you know that, I also abide by the 80-20 rule. So yes, I eat paleo 80 to 90% of the time, but, if I want something, I really, I have it, and it's not such a big deal because I don't crave things very often. And so I have an occasional pizza. It's not like I never eat gluten, and it's like I never eat dairy or I never eat something sweet. I do. But there are also lots of ways to adapt a paleo diet to those kinds of tastes, so that I can make a paleo cheesecake. I can make paleo pancakes, and I can make things that, so if I'm hungry for something like French toast, I can usually find a way to make it in a paleo way so that it's not so destructive for my health as the regular kinds of things like that I used to eat. So that's why I find that eating paleo is just so right for my lifestyle, because I can go out to eat all the time, and if you know Doug or I, you know we're foodie people. We love going out to restaurants, and I can always find good things to eat. And I would never eat a diet that I didn't like. I am a foodie, so I love the food that I eat, and it's not that hard to make really tasty food, um, and, and and make it in a fairly short period of time. You just have to be sort of organized, have good recipes, and have a plan. So I've been eating this way, like I said, for 4 years now, and again, it has just made me feel so free. I can't even tell you. Um, and I will say that I don't think the paleo diet is right for everyone. I think some people do much better on a more vegetarian diet, and other people do great on paleo. Some people do the best on an Atkins type diet. Atkins for me was just too restrictive. I had too much of a hard time finding things to eat, and I got bored. Paleo, I've so far I've never gotten bored, or if I do, I can just go find more recipes that I love and want to try. So again, it's been pretty easy for me to eat this way. But if you, like I said, it's not right for everyone. But I will say, if you answered yes to any of these following questions, then I would really encourage you to consider a paleo diet. Are you tired of being tired? Do you drag through your day and always feel exhausted? Are you pre-diabetic or diabetic? Do you have adult acne? Do you have gut issues, particularly bloating and gas and constipation? Some of you have diarrhea too, and the paleo diet will work for you as well. Do you have excess weight, especially around your middle? And do you feel like your face is bloaty and your face is fat? Do you work out and still keep gaining weight, or do you have trouble building muscle? And have you reached a point in your life where feeling like crap is just not acceptable to you anymore? Because if you have, then I would really encourage you to start looking at the paleo diet. Now, for those of you who are interested in learning more about this, I'm considering doing a 1 hour webinar on paleo for a nominal charge, $5 to $10 probably, and it'd be about an hour long, so that you can get a sense of what is more of what's involved. And if you have any interest in that, Facebook me or email me. I would be really, if you're interested, I'm interested in what you'd like to know more about and how you'd like to learn it. But otherwise, you can also just start reading. There are some great books. Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson, Paleoista by Nell Stevenson. There's Well Fed, and I can't remember the author of that book actually. And then there are multiple books on paleo by Robert Wolfe. And then you can also go on the web and look at Whole 9 or Whole 30. The Whole 9 website is very much geared towards a paleo diet, and they've helped a lot of people get healthy over the years. That's a very popular website. So there are ways that you can start really looking into this on your own too. And I want to just say that even if the paleo diet, even if you're not ready to sort of take that next step and really start a paleo diet, the thing you might want to understand, or the thing I want you to understand, is that the paleo way of eating really works because you are cutting out processed and refined foods. That's really what is causing weight gain and illness across this nation. That's really why we as Americans are so unhealthy. So anything you do, one meal, one snack at a time, to make a choice between a processed food and a whole food. So in other words, make that choice between a muffin and and eggs for breakfast that you've cooked. Make a choice between a handful of walnuts as a snack and a handful of M&Ms. Every time you add in a good food, make a choice between a vegetable and a fruit or something that's processed. Every time you do that, you're that much closer to getting healthier. So even if you're not ready to delve into the paleo diet, I really, really encourage you to start what's called a clean diet as much as you can. Start making those cleaner choices between food that's whole and fresh and that's a real food and food that's not processed, because that's where you're going to get the gains in your health no matter what is going on with you. You will get healthier in spades by doing that. So I hope this has helped. I hope that my story will help other people and inspire other people. Again, be brave, be brave, be ready to change, be ready to embrace something new. Because if you're like most people and you've been doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working, that's the only thing left for you. The only thing left for you is to do something different. So take care, everyone. I'll see you next week.